I would have wanted to have created stuff in advance for the trick.
Yeah.
So we are live. This screen over here tells me that this camera over here is on. So
that's good.
We should probably talk to those people.
Hey guys, slightly early for this one.
Does that mean we're earlier, or is you?
It's 11:01.
We're not early, so you must be early.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it.
Or late.
Or precisely when I intended to be.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
precisely when you mean to.
So, hello, greetings and welcome. This is the GM, the super secret. Look, there's a spoiler warning overhead right now. Super secret GM prep session.
I've got no sound here.
You've got no sound here. Well, listen here. Who's that?
Muerto in the background. Oh yeah, Muerto is in the background.
Opa.
Because the walking target has sound.
Right, so like some of you have sound and some of you
Joe
don't.
95 does not have sound.
Well, some people have sound and some people don't, and it's all based on whether or not they deserve sound. And we don't make those choices. It's not up to us. But there's some cosmic entity out there that is deciding who deserves sound and who doesn't.
Idaho Joe 95 is reloading.
Okay, we'll see.
They have sound now.
Excellent, there we go.
Soundbar hears voices, which sounds a little bit concerning.
Right, I would say that's probably not us because we're not talking.
Right.
That's not a thing we do. So I have this note card.
I have a sping circle.
I'm guessing that means spinning, but it's short. Sping is short for Spanish.
Oh, sping circle.
Yeah, sping. Okay. So I have this note card that says Pepper Genie on it.
Yeah,
it's got various notes that are crossed out.
Yeah.
That's for the Pepper Genie fight. But I used this Pepper Genie card to take notes on the things that they're going to do in today's session.
Ah, yeah.
So they've got this amulet from last time.
Right.
And hopefully they decide they want to interact with this amulet more.
Right. If they don't, they could go have a different adventure.
They could go have a different adventure. That'd be fine. But
it could happen.
Yeah, but we've got this amulet, and they're going to cleanse the amulet. That's the first thing. And when they cleanse the amulet's going to be like, oh, amulet online. We need to go to the Order Cosmic Castle, and then poof, they'll go to the castle.
Yeah.
And we may or may not. So right now, the art for the castle is conjecture. We may or may not have art for this.
I saw some art of the castle being worked on Sarah's computer.
Right. So, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? So then they'll go to the castle and they'll fight some goblins and they'll see the castle and the hall and it'll be cool, awesome, great.
Yeah.
And then, so that's just like establishing stuff.
Yeah.
Then the important stuff is that Craig's character, Dynamo, is going to detect that there's like chronal anomalies here in various places in the castle.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to go to 3 places in the castle because 3 is a good, nice balanced number.
Right.
They're going to go to 3 places in the castle and solve these, and then like interact with these chronal anomalies. It'll throw them back in time to a place in the history of the castle in which something was different and bad, and then they'll have to fix that, and doing all 3 of these things will cleanse the castle.
Right.
I know what the last one is.
Okay.
I know what I want to lead to with these 2.
Right.
So then after that they'll have cleansed the castle, and then if there's time, maybe they'll find the lake underneath the castle.
Right.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Is the lake unfindable until the castle is in order?
Well, so until the castle's in order, they can't really. The castle is just in shambles and mostly ruins and filled with wreckage and grimloids, and they're just gonna have to fight these grimloids, and that's just gonna take forever. So. I'm not going to create the Grimloids right now. If we create these 3 challenges, because that's the big important thing for me for today, is creating these 3 challenges. Yeah. If we create these 3 challenges and we have time aplenty left over, we can not throw together the Grimloids. But I'm also fine with just making the Grimloids go in place, because they're just minions and there's just a pile of them. And like if they fight them, they'll be like, yes, we're destroying Grimloids, and yes, sure enough, you are. That I'm not worried about.
Makes sense.
The challenges are the big thing. So the 3rd challenge is what I want to start with. Because
what's your vision for this?
So the 3rd challenge. So there's going to be a knight of the order, and we're gonna have to. So today, you and I, and with the help of the chat, you guys have to help us. We're gonna need to come up with names for some knights.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a job for the chat.
Well, we'll get some ideas.
Yeah.
But we have some names for some knights. We've got some aspects of these challenges. But the cool thing is there's going to be a 3rd one. There's going to be a knight who is a knight whose job in the Order of the Knights Cosmic is to pay attention to the defenses of the castle and the like sensors that are paying attention to what's going on out in space. And this knight's going to be like, hey guys, I'm really concerned because there's this alignment of the planets that's happening that is like a thing that shouldn't happen. It happens extremely rarely, and when it does, like, negative cosmic energy can form, and we need to worry about this. This is the 3rd challenge. They're going to go back in time, and they're going to see this happening. And I kind of want on this one for them to not be able to fully interact with the knights, so they're able to like see what's going on, and then they can like whisper ideas of these knights, but they're not like physically there for this
Oh,
one.
that's a cool idea for all the challenges.
Right.
If that's how the chronal anomalies work, like in general, is that like
You can watch it.
You can watch it happen, and if you like shout loud or like say things at someone, they can like you can slightly change the past.
You can put things
but
into
you're not
people's
really
minds,
there.
but you're not actually there interacting
that's
with
good.
it.
I like
and
that.
then
That's
the,
cool.
And the other thing I want to do is I want to make these like replayable. I want to make these fairly short scenes where it's like this happens, this happens, this happens. That's the scene, and then you can like replay it and
So you
replay
can
it and
keep
replay
going
it
back through it until you get the outcome you want.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
That's
so that
cool
gives
as
you,
well.
And so maybe then you go to all 3 challenges and all 3 of the chronal anomalies and you watch all 3 and then you're like, okay, now we have a bunch of information. What are we going to do with it?
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
So then you can just go in a bunch of times and you can be like, I went in, oh, now everything is terrible. Oh, we did that thing. Now it's even worse. Don't do that.
Right.
Go back in and, now it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
This is like there's a Star Trek episode.
I'm sure. Anytime, Paul. I'm like, what about this story? You're like, well, it's a Star Trek episode.
My brother Andrew and I at one point were like, we should have a podcast called A Star Trek Reference for All Seasons.
Okay, so, anyway.
But it really is a Star Trek episode. It's a Voyager episode.
I believe you.
Called The Year of Hell. Anyway, go.
So there's this third challenge. There's going to be this nice like, hey, there's these chronal anomalies that are. I mean, there's this like cosmic lining up of the planets. Because what I'm hinting at here is the same thing as when Ray's character was created. Castella Nova is, and the fact the big bad that they haven't met yet is that same sort of entity. It's the same sort of being. And so there's going to be this lining up of the planets. This one knight's going to be concerned about it. Other knights are going to be like, no, don't worry, that's not a big thing. Like these things happen. The planets line up, and then they go again. Like. Not to worry. And what I want them to do is realize what they need to do is shield their castle against this sort of this cosmic energy. Because if they do, then because what happens is the planets align. This being is created, and she immediately curses this castle.
And so they'll see that happen. They'll go in. There'll be a knight. The knight will be like, "I'm complaining about the situation."
Right.
And then other knights are like, "No, it's fine." And they're sitting around like a round cosmic night table.
You know what?
Yeah.
Now that I'm saying this, I actually think I want to make this thing that I just described the whole thing.
Nice.
And we'll break it into 3 parts.
All right. Cool.
Okay. So here's the elements we have. The planets are aligning, and the alignment of the planets is going to create this entity. Okay, that can be the first thing that happened in the past, because she is created, and then she becomes a nemesis of these knights over time.
Right. What is the best? So that's what they see happen by default. They go in and they see the planets align, and then her get created.
Right. And the thing is that you're not going to be able to do anything about that. You can't stop her from being
right.
created.
That's what I was going to ask.
Because
what is the outcome that they can hope to achieve?
Let's get through all 3.
Okay. Cool.
So what I wanted to do 3 things. And like I'm talking about this is like I was going to give them 2 different things to do, and then this like no, this is the thing.
This is cool. It's a core thing.
This is the and that way there's like
and you can see it at different points in history.
Right. So there's this super far back in time. The planets are aligning, and that seems bad. Right. Okay, great. Then the next thing is this entity has been created, and she is messing with us and being a problem. And we're never going to see her. I want to make sure that we don't see her. We only see the effects of her stuff, and we see like the fact that she sends the Gremloids.
Like, oh no, there's an entity out there.
Right. Yeah. But there's like, we have this feeling of this entity, and she's various places in space. Okay. And then the third thing is the entity is like directly sending her forces to attack this castle. And so, because what has happened is, what already, by the time that we meet this castle, we go to this castle, and this castle is corrupted, the amulet was corrupted, and the castle is overrun by these gremloids. And what we need to discover is that this entity was created, this entity began warring against the Knights of the Order Cosmic, and rather, the entity began, like, sowing its corrupted discord throughout the galaxy, and the Order of the Knights Cosmic opposed her. And then she turned her wrath upon them and destroyed them and corrupted their castle and sent these gremloids to go and attack them and created laser dragons. And so like creating laser dragons can actually be the second one. So those are the 3 things that we learn from here. This is a good like history moment where we learn of these 3 things. And so then the question is, what are the dials that we let them turn to be able to do things? Because as much as I want that first one in there of like, we see her getting created, because that way it also hints to being Ray's character being created the same way. I don't know really what the dials for them to turn there are. I don't know what the like, because they certainly can't stop her from being created.
Right.
And they can't, from these scenes, stop her from warring on the Knights Cosmic. They can save the castle, and that's the ultimate thing that they do. If they like turn all the dials in different directions correctly across all 3 of these, they will cleanse the castle, and that's what they must do.
Correct.
And this is going to be like Because I wanted them to be able to cleanse the castle, but not be able. So here's the trick: I want them to be able to cleanse the castle, but not be able to save the order. They don't.
Right,
They don't, as a
correct,
result of this,
exactly.
be like, and the knights are all back. It's like, no, you couldn't.
And there has to be in each one of these situations, there has to be some like slight positive that they can.
Yes.
They can.
Little dials they can
make.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what one of the things could be?
Yeah.
Is make it so that that ship that they're going to get exists. Right. Like it could be
make
that
this
like
thing.
at this time, that's like they can't find that initially because it's been destroyed by whatever.
Or it hasn't been even created.
Right, it wasn't created or something. Right, so they can change history so that it exists still, and then they can learn about it through that also.
So in that case, if that's going to be one of the key things, which I love, we'll have the middle one, and actually the third one can be, so you say the ship they're created, but they're getting 2 ships.
Right.
They're getting the chargers that they themselves are having, and they're getting the lance of the order. And so what I'm going to do is like the scene 2 is going to be laser dragons, her creating laser dragons. And they can't do anything to stop her from creating laser dragons, but they can appropriately respond. Right. So if they push the laser dragon scene in a certain direction, then the Knights of the Order make the Lance of the Order ship that will be used to defeat laser dragons. Next issue. Right. So there we go. That's that. Scene 3 is attack on the castle. And this is like, hey, an attack is incoming. What are we going to do about it? And if they can influence the knights to prepare for it, that's what builds those charger ships that they're going to use. And so then scene 1 is formation of cosmic entity. And this one can seem like, this one even, I can scale back the dread and gloom on this one. This can seem like, oh, this isn't anything bad. This is like, oh, there's these planets that are aligning, and there's going to be, we can tell there's going to be this like burst of cosmic energy that comes out of that. But who can say? Right. Who can say what will come of that? And if they, do we want to have like cascading changes that if they change something here to where it makes the knights pay more attention to it, really it tweaks these 2 as well?
That'd be really cool. Yeah. So then they can have a situation where you're like, here's these 3 things. You go in and you see this happen, and then you come out really quick. And you're like, oh, that's what these 3 things are.
All right.
And then through like thinking about it, and you can like guide them in a direction to figure out like, oh, you can maybe like very vaguely interact, right? And I'm like, ooh, cool. And like that's another thing for Craig to figure out. That's true, that you can possibly interact here. And then they can learn over time, they can learn after they see how they each unfold like naturally. All right. They can learn that they can maybe interact, and then you can see them make a change and be like, oh, now you go the other one, like this one changed, but then this other one's a little bit different. That'd be neat. So the thing they learn in scene 2 is that this cosmic entity that is created here in scene 1 is out doing bad stuff, and they're like, okay, she's already, by this time she's already a foe of the Knights of the Order Cosmic. Right. And the thing they learn is if she defeats a Knight of the Order Cosmic and takes that knight's amulet, she can corrupt that amulet and use it to birth a laser dragon. Because that's the thing we saw happening. Right, correct. Right. She can use the energy from that corrupted amulet to make a laser dragon. So, what we can do is when the amulet comes online, when they cleanse the amulet at the beginning, the amulet can be like, oh, hey, I'm not just an amulet of the Knight of the Order. I am the amulet of Sir So-and-so. I am the amulet of this particular knight. Oh, that's great. And then when they come back here, it's like, oh, that particular knight was around for these events. Right. And ultimately fell during this event. Right, during the attack. That's cool. Yeah, Jenna Grow asks if we've named the Cosmic Sorceress yet. We have not named the Cosmic Sorceress yet, and I think that we want to have a name for scene 2 and 3, scene 3. We don't want for scene, because we'll need a name for the Cosmic Sorceress. Right. We have a name for the specific knight whose amulet it was. Right, and a few other knights would be good, because these scenes are all knights talking to knights talking to knights. So we gotta have knight names. Right, yeah. We're working on our knight moves here. Yeah. So yeah, we need. So let's make a list of needs. We need Cosmic Sorceress. And as much as I want her name to be Morgana, I don't want it to be Morgana. Right, exactly. Knights. Very interestingly, in here, in the chat, they were talking about the Norman conquest of England. Oh, interesting. And how Tolkien was going on about how the Norman conquest was a horrible thing to have happened to England because they Frenched up Arthur too much. Sure, like that, that's true. Which is true. They definitely did, because Arthur before that was like right. Because you and I care a lot about how 1066 was the end of the world. That's it. Yeah, the end of the civilized world. Exactly. Okay, so and then we specifically need. Well, when we get the knight names, we'll pick a name for this. So if people have ideas for Cosmic Sorceress names or knight names, great. If not, we'll come back to that. So. The trick is if I'm going to be doing these scenes over and over again, I almost want to script them out. Yeah, that's
You
really
know,
reasonable.
so
I think it's a good idea.
and I don't know that we need to do that on air right now. I can take them then to after this. I've got like half an hour of time between looking at various things, setting up for the next one, and doing my text and stuff, where I can just sit down and type them up real quick if we outline them. So the first one is we have Sensor Night. Is like alignment of planets. And then I think that we want to have, okay, here's what we want to have. We want to have a leader of the knights. We want to have a King Arthur.
Right.
That isn't necessarily a king, though. He's still a knight. Like
Right,
none of these, there's no
It's a
kings
leader
here.
knight,
But
but like main knight.
we want to have a
But
main
like
knight
the master
who
of the order.
is here and gets defeated here, and that's not solvable. And then that knight that is leader knight is the one that shows up inside the sword in issue 5. Right.
Perfect.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Because we have the knight who is the knight of like paying attention to things and using the sensors to watch all these things happening is the knight that is in the amulet. It was the knight of that amulet.
Right.
And so the amulet's able to be like, oh hey, that is my knight. I can give you these scenes from my knight's history.
Right. And let me tell you. Oh, that's great.
Right.
That's
Okay.
really good.
So in the first scene, I'm trying to think of any conflict for the first scene. Because the first scene, we've got the knight who's paying attention to all the sensors come up and be like, hey, these planets aligning. The head knight's like, yes, this sort of thing happens.
Right,
What do we need to do about it? And the sensor knight's like, I think really we just need to be careful and pay attention and be aware of anything that comes out of this. I kind of want to have a conflict here be that the sensor knight's not talking to the head knight, is talking to some other knight.
Right.
And is like, hey, should we take this to the head knight? And the knight's like, let's just keep watching it for now and see what happens.
Right,
There's no reason to bother the head knight,
yeah.
until if something doesn't come up. So I'm going to change that. Yeah, there we go. That's the conflict. Because then they can be like, no, you do. Cool, and then they can. So if they convince someone in the scene that they need to talk to the head knight, what does that do? Like, that makes them more aware.
Right. So what does that change about the subsequent scenes, you mean?
And what does that change about modern day? Because I think subsequent scene changes are nice.
Right, but modern day is really
changes are important. Like, oh, they've made a change, and so you immediately see that this place is different.
Yeah. So you've got to change something about the castle that has to be like kind of a little bit
like
obvious.
really obvious. I mean, it could just be that the castle like gains more defenses. The castle it can. So like if they.
So that's the first one.
Right.
So what? So the changes. So what happens by default is that they don't tell this guy, and then he's not prepared when that happens, and they just get defeated really quickly.
They get overrun.
They overrun really quick.
Yeah.
Here's what I think what happens is if they change that so they tell the head knight right away, then that head knight becomes somehow like heroic, like for the defense of the castle. So they still lose, but now they hold out for a lot longer, and you're like, oh yes, we held out for a long time against this, and so now suddenly there's statues of this person.
Sure.
And that kind of stuff.
I want the players to bring about the downfall of these knights accidentally and the solving of the problems. I want them to convince. I want them to feel bad about this.
Okay.
I want them. I want them
right.
to accidentally convince the head knight to pick up the sword that will eventually curse him and doom him into an eternity inside the sword.
Okay.
Because they're like, oh, here's the deal. We need to pay attention to this. We need to pay attention to the cosmic energy. There's bigger things out there that we can't deal with. We need more power.
Right.
We need more than we currently have.
Right.
And so then when the sword becomes available, this knight's like, yes, great. I will take up this greater burden than I should in order to defeat the forces of evil.
Okay.
And it will lead to my own downfall.
That's pretty cool.
Because
So then it works.
it works, and the castle gets better, and they get better defenses, and there's statues of him, and everything wins.
Right.
Except ultimately, we've cursed this man to an
Right,
eternity
exactly.
of destruction.
Right, and those are the options.
Right.
Those are the only two choices.
Yes.
That is very Tolkien. I like it so much.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I will write that up. Good. I'm happy with that one now. That gives us that puts some threads. Okay, so we'll introduce the Starblight Sword in scene 3 after they've changed scene 1. That will change scene 3. Scene 2 is... Okay, so we need to know... the scene 2 has the guy, and he's got readings from amulets. Okay, cool. So, what's going to happen in scene 2? One leads into that, one leads into that, 2 is going to lead into something else. Is that and scene 2 is going to be, hey, we're losing these amulets. Also, unrelatedly, there's these laser dragons.
Right.
If you change scene 1 to make them more aware, to make them more concerned,
Right.
then they'd be like, okay, since we've now been watching our amulets, because now we're paying attention,
Right.
and we're like, we're keeping, essentially, we're tracking all of our amulets and what happens to them all the
Right.
time. We're aware that we're losing the amulets because they're getting taken by this sorceress lady, and she's using them, she's corrupting them and using them to create laser dragons. So we will have unlocked the knowledge of the laser dragons.
Right.
It's like there's two threats. There's two things. One, we're losing knights and their amulets are getting destroyed.
Right.
And B,
Right.
laser dragons are showing up. These are seemingly unrelated, but we're talking about them in the same scene because they're the two big threats right now
Right.
in the galaxy. But if you fix scene 1, then you actually unlock the knowledge of scene 2.
This is how they're connected.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then scene. So amulets lost.
And what are you trying to get them to do in scene 2?
Dragons. In scene 2, what can be done? I need an advisor knight that they can talk to as well. We have some amulets, and then also they can convince them to. So here's what it is. Scene 1 is, hey, we know about this thing. Is it a problem? And the players are going to influence them. Yes, it's a problem, and you need to be vigilant.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Scene 2 is, hey, we're losing the amulets and also these dragons thing.
Yeah.
And then if they've solved scene 1, then they learn, actually, these amulets are being taken by this celestial being that we learned
Right.
about in scene 1, and she's making laser dragons out of it. Either way, the head knight's like, okay, what do we do about this? An advisor knight is going to be like, sir, this is a scale I don't know anything what to do. But the players can give advice to this advisor knight about this laser dragon.
Right.
So they've actually faced a laser dragon.
Right, and tell them about
And so be like,
this is stuff I know about laser dragons.
Right. And ultimately, what they're going to, the direction I want them to push here is we need more vigilance, we need
Right.
more awareness of what's going on. What I want them to learn here is we need more power.
Yeah.
And so the way that they're going to solve for we need more power is making the Lance of the Order that can
Right.
be used for fighting laser dragons, and putting the seed in the head knight's mind that he should pick up Starblight.
Right.
So that is the
Right.
directions of scene 2, where they're going to the thing the players know they're doing is you should create something to fight laser dragons.
Right.
The laser dragons have this impenetrable shield, because that's the information that I want them to impart to the knights is
Right.
this laser dragon has this impenetrable
Right.
shield. You've
Right.
got to do
You've
something
gotta
about that.
yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
And then so that'll push them in the direction. So then scene 3 is an attack on the castle, where we have Censor Knight, we have Advisor Knight, and we have the Head Knight.
Yes, there is still a corrupted knight in Starblight Sword.
Yes, yeah, that's the
Right.
Head Knight.
There's a question over here. That's
Yeah.
the head knight that
That
we're
is the Head
talking
Knight that
about.
we're talking about, yep. That's potentially the Head Knight.
That was a
If
question from Idaho Jew.
Yeah, that is potentially the Head Knight if we convince if they convince the Head Knight if they accidentally convince the Head Knight to pick up Starblight.
Yeah.
And that is Yeah, that's going to happen.
Right.
I was just saying, there's a chance they could accidentally convince one of the other knights in the scene to pick it up, but it's going to be the head knight because when the final scene plays out, the thing that's going to solve the thing and cleanse the castle is that the head knight will pick up Starblight and use that to defeat the bad guys. Okay, great, you win as a result.
Right.
But then and they're like, and now all these scenes go away because you've solved all the problems, and then the castle's corrupted and these scenes are gone, and the players are going to be like, wait a minute, what was that about the Starblight sword? He had the Starblight sword.
Right.
Like. So
that'll be really good.
Yeah. So from 2, we have Lance of Order. Cool. So actually, this is Military Advisor Knight. Great. So the knight that's in charge of the military is like, hey, we need more stuff here, but I don't know what stuff we need. In scene 3, if they watch scene, I kind of want to give them scene 3 first. And then they'll be like, watch all 3, and they're like, oh, we've learned that these are the chronological ones.
They have to definitely give them to them out of order.
Right.
No matter what they do, give them out of order, and have them figure out the order. Yeah,
right.
That'll be so great.
So they're. I'm going to give them 3, then 1, then 2, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, cool, great.
Right.
But the scene 3 is, there's an attack on the castle. There's these gremlins that are here, and there's laser dragons out in space, and we're not at all prepared. My leader, what are we doing? It's like, well, the guy who's in charge of the military is like, we don't have anything that we can use to defeat these laser dragons. There's nothing that we have. And I will actually use this to remind the players. They have these shields, and we can't possibly get these shields. They seem to take no damage.
Right.
Great, cool. And then the head knight is like, I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough personal might. I don't have enough power to take on these forces of evil, and then they lose, and that's the scene. Like, that's just it. Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, that's grim. Let's look at these other scenes. And then we have the very first thing. Hey, should we be aware of this? Okay, sure. That doesn't seem really like it's very crucial at all. And the next one is like, hey, there's this thing. So at this point, I'm really happy with these, and I can rewrite the things. Where
does the Starblight sword come from? Where does the head get it to pick up?
This is the question. I don't want to tell them. So the evil space sorceress makes it, and it's a trap for them.
Nice.
As she is aware, so the thing that's been true since our second session of us doing this is that she makes that sword and she leaves it out as a trap for them, for the Knights of the Order. She uses this to undo the Knights of the Order.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We're going to learn in session 5 how that happened, because we're going to learn from the head knight.
Right.
We're going to they might decide they just want to beat him up and take his stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But we have an opportunity to learn about that story in session 5.
Right.
That is the fall of the Order, but not the fall of the castle. What we're telling today is the story of the fall of the castle. And so what's going to happen here is they're like, oh, you need more power, you need more stuff. So then scene 2 will have changed to, okay, we have to deal with these dragons, we're making stuff. So scene 3 will change, and before it was the Censor Knight's like, bad stuff's incoming, and the military knight's like, we don't have anything to deal with it, and the head knight's like, I'm not strong enough to deal with this. So then they'll convince them they need more power, they need to build up, they need to get stuff. Great. So then scene 3 will be replayed.
Right.
It's like, all right, they're coming in, but we're ready for them. It's like, yes, great. I have all the knights prepared in their chargers, and they have the Lance of the Order that can be used to destroy the shields of these laser dragons. Fantastic. And then the head knight's like, yes, and I too have a powerful weapon, and it'll hold Starblight aloft and then fly out into space with Starblight. And then that will be the scene, and they win. The castle's cleansed. And they'll be like, excuse me, why was there Starblight there at the end? It's like, oh, you don't know. That's information you don't have.
Yeah.
That's from somewhere. The knights were convinced they needed more power, so the head knight got this sword. I'm sure that'll come back later. And that doesn't come back until session 5.
That's awesome.
Because session 4 is fighting the laser dragon.
Right.
Okay.
Love it.
Yes.
What does this room look like when they get to the castle?
This is going to be this is like a great hall. So there's an art of this like hallway that goes down. It's got these like holographic tapestries down the sides and gremloids all over the place in there. And they're going to go through that, and then they're going to arrive in this great hall that I don't have art for, which is just for the best.
That's right. You can just describe. We just sort of made it up. So.
Right. Well, I mean, this has actually existed because I knew that I wanted to do the 3 temporal scenes since last time. Right. But I didn't want there to be art of it because I would want no arts or like 7 arts. So it'd be like, oh, you've changed this thing. Oh, you've changed this thing. Oh, you've changed this thing. So that is all those things there. It will happen, and so we'll just describe this like great hall sort of room that has an oval table in it, and like these like stone seats around the table that the knights would sit in and all that. And as one thing that I do want to do in that room is once they successfully complete the first scene, that room is going to have a bunch of the room's still going to be destroyed, but it's going to have a bunch of like instrument panels and like monitors and clearly like some sort of like radar looking thing. It's like, oh, this room now all of a sudden has a bunch more telemetry stuff of clearly they were watching, but everyone's still destroyed. Yeah. And then after the second scene, it'll be like, oh, this room also has a bunch of like weapons sort of things. Not whereas like the castle doesn't have guns or anything, but the castle has a bunch of defenses where it can quickly deploy out these knights. It's like they can. A teleportation ring, or like a beaming sort of thing for deploying knights to different parts of the galaxy. So like these two things will change this room, and then the third one, once that's solved,
We'll cleanse the castle.
everything is better.
Right.
And the stuff is all.
And the second one also is where they make the Lance of the Order.
They make the Lance of the Order that goes underneath the castle, and
Right.
and we learn.
So then that's another thing that can show up in the room. You learn like, oh, now there's a whole control console for, or something like that references the fact that
it will
now
hint that there is
exists.
this lake underneath
That's
the
what I
thing.
mean. Yeah. But that lake only comes into existence after they solve 2.
That said, I might let them find the lake first, or early on.
Just
when
like
they're
an empty
exploring the
lake.
castle, and there's just a lake underneath the castle. I'm trying to decide, how do they?
That's a good idea.
If they get teleported to the castle by this amulet, and they arrive at the castle, and they like go into the castle, and there's these gremlins.
I think they should get teleported to the lake, under the castle. And they're just like, there's this room in this lake, and you can go up, and you can see this is a natural cavern,
the
but then you start
aim
going
is
up the
like-
stairs, and it's like, oh, now you're going up there.
So the way that I wanted to do
and there's
the
more stuff,
teleports-
and now you're into a castle. Yeah.
The way that I wanted to do the teleports
Yeah.
was not just like, boink, you're there,
Right.
but like this like light speed sort of thing where they're there and they're like all of a sudden like tearing through space, and they see space going all around them, and that way they see the castle, and as they're on their approach to the castle, they see the castle, they see like this little rock planet, and as they're getting closer to it, there's this like a little purple shining building on the planet. As they're getting closer and as they're getting closer and as they're getting closer, and this is getting bigger, the amulet's going to speak to them, and it's going to be like, error, the castle is corrupted, the castle is full of the negative energy,
Right.
diverting to backup location,
Yeah.
and that drops them in the lake
Right,
at the bottom
perfect.
of the castle.
So then it seems like to them, this is just like
Just
the
dropping some
atrium,
random, like-
right, and then you can get up like, okay, the staircases come down into
Right.
into the
There's
depths,
like
and you
these
can
stone-
climb up.
and like they're coming in through a secret entrance that nobody knows
Exactly
about, 'cause it's
right.
the backup location that is hidden deep in the amulet.
Right, yeah.
But then they get into the castle, they do all these things, and then one of the things that'll happen after the second scene is there'll be one of the there'll be all these broken monitors. When you cleanse the castle, one of the monitors will show that same lake that came in
Right.
through, and it'll show controls for like to raise the lance.
Right, yeah.
And then like the lance comes
so good.
a watery
So
tart hoisting a sword aloft.
So there's a question here that next time, can we switch seats so that they can see your lips when you're talking? When you're talking fast, and they can lip read.
Okay. I don't know if they can lip read. I talk really fast.
I know, that's true.
All right. We could switch. This is problems for Trevor. We could consider you and I sitting on opposite sides of the seat and on a table, and instead of having one camera, having a
and then-
split scene thing, so we're both like talking to each
Right,
other.
yeah.
You can see both of our faces from the front.
We could
because
probably- yeah.
Trevor and Adam and I are talking about doing a similar thing for Letters Page live
Right,
stuff.
that makes sense.
So that's
Yeah, let's ponder
Trevor,
that.
That's a
Ponder
problem
that for the
you.
future.
Something to think about.
Because then we'll both have a camera that we're looking at while talking to each other.
Right, so essentially
So
I'll
we
be
don't
talking
have-
to you and the camera's there, and then you'll be sitting there talking to me, and you'll be looking into this camera that's right here that you can't see because it's off screen. Okay, great. So I can go right on these things. What time is it? How are we doing?
Great.
Half an hour, that's fantastic. Okay, so now,
That's why we talk fast.
right. So
Yeah.
here's what we need. I need a Censor Knight, who is the one that holds the amulet. I need a Military Advisor Knight.
So if you're interested, I've pulled up a bunch of cool old Anglo-Saxon
I saw
names.
you doing that. I like it.
Yeah.
And I also need a Head Knight name. I also need the name for the Cosmic Sorceress. And then after we do those 4 names, if we're done, we have plenty of spare time, we can make the Grimoires.
Nice.
So this is good. And then I'll go type furiously in the other room.
So there's a bunch of good names in here.
Right. Yeah. So
Like-
here's the other thing.
yeah.
So all these knights.
Yeah.
None of them are human.
Right.
There's some that are humanoid.
Right.
But none of them are human. They're all different weirdo aliens
Right.
with multiple limbs, or like there's insectoid ones and there's reptilian
Right.
ones and all that. So what I kind of want to do is take like these old Anglo-Saxon names and then like do weird stuff to them.
Cool, yeah,
Put
yeah.
an apostrophe.
Exactly, yeah.
Change that to
And
letters.
if we can get like a similar amount of like dudes and ladies.
Yeah,
the knights?
For these 3,
Seems good.
what I kind of want is to have for these 3. So I don't want the head knight to be a lady, because at this point we've had, since the Cosmic Sorceress is a lady,
Right, yeah.
like at this point we have, I don't want to be like all the things that you fight and are evil, because you're going to fight this in
Right,
scene
yes.
5. So I'm going to be
true.
like, all you fight is ladies. Ladies are all the bad guys in this world. Like that's not the thing that's not the message I'm trying to put out into this world. So other than that, both of the military advisors. So I was thinking that like either the Censor Knight or the Military Advisor Knight could be a lady, and then the other one can be unknown.
Yeah.
So let's first do the Head Knight. I want a name that evokes but is not Arthur. Because
Right.
like
Right.
so a name. So here's my question: what's the Anglo-Saxon version of the name Arthur? Because
Yeah, because Arthur is earlier.
like just Google that very question.
It's a little
It's
bit
gonna be
weird because it's
tricky.
like Romano-British,
Yeah.
and it's like, so,
I like that all these things are like about King Arthur. It's like, well, no.
like,
So,
yeah, okay. So, I mean, you can go. Let me see here. I mean, we can go for another like king kind of name like that. You could go for something like Ulrich or something.
you know what? Actually, we
like,
should do is do a play on Pendragon rather than Arthur.
Yes.
That's what we should
okay,
do.
that's true.
That's what we should
if you want to just space up something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's like if you go to Latin, then you get Artorius. They mentioned in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I think I want to do.
You want to go and like go earlier. You want to go later, sort of. Isolde's a cool name. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hengist is always a good name.
All right.
Do they not conquer stuff? Want to go easy? You could do some sort of Vortigern situation.
Vortigern's good. I like
Yeah.
that for the military advisor.
Yeah.
And I can do it VORT''GYRN.
Yeah.
There
That's
you go.
good. That's a good joke.
Vortigern.
Just for us.
It's for someone.
Yeah, it's for someone. Whatever. I like the theme of this adventure is in a lot of ways like mostly just jokes for Paul and Christopher.
Yes.
But, you know. Yeah, Elfwin is in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle as a woman's name. There's also... woman's name that doesn't start with E. A-E is hard to find. Every woman in Anglo-Saxon England had a name that started with an A or an E.
Yeah, it's really true.
It's so fun. Because I want to choose one that's good, but that doesn't, that isn't a Tolkien name.
Yeah. Yep.
Because everyone knows those.
Mm-hmm. I'm messing around with serpent, dragon, worm.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
The only problem with worm is if we have Vortigern, I don't want to also have something worm.
Right.
Which is too bad because worm's real solid.
That's a cool name. Nerienda. There's a bunch of like precursors to Mildred as well.
So I'd want it for her. I'd love a name that evokes Morgana. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm thinking of her and also the other knight. So I'm trying to think of two like women's names that I'm.
Nerienda is good. I can work with that.
Yeah.
But for the Cosmic Sorceress,
Right. So
I want like
Let me do some research on that while you're.
Nargana or like.
Right. I wonder if we could probably go.
Morgella's not bad, actually.
Um,
Also,
Yeah.
the name of Ray's character is Stella Nova, but then
Right.
her alias is Celeste Sykes.
Yeah.
So like those, I also want to play with those with the name of this entity. That,
Ooh,
like,
yes,
that,
because it's got to be
because
kind of along
it's of
that.
the same race. I'm just calling the head of the Order of the Knights Arton.
Yeah, that's good.
Like it sounds
works.
right. It feels good. It leans into the thing that people are supposed to feel about this guy. So we have Arton, we have Nerienda, and we have Vortigern.
Let's see.
Do I need to mess with that? No, I like that. Okay, cool. So instead of Stella Nova, how's the chat doing? I feel like I'm ignoring them.
There were a lot of issues with the stream.
Oh, really?
There've been a lot of them, yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully those get corrected in time for the afternoon. I hope we're streaming. Are we streaming it just like the 480 or whatever we're supposed to be?
No, we will
All right.
check. We'll look
We'll
into
make
all
sure
these things.
Stream issues are bad, but not. In this morning, it's fine, comparatively.
You could like pull something off of like Knave or something like that if you're gonna go like, or for like more Celtic.
I don't know that I need her to be specifically
Right.
Celtic name.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like that's
Not necessary. Yeah, we're streaming at 480 right now. We'll like turn everything off and then on again.
Yep.
With the internet, that often helps. Because then.
Okay, so her name is Stella Nova, but then she also has a name, which is Les Sykes. I want this Cosmic Sorceress to be called Stella-something. And then we can give her a name as well. But that way it leans down that same road. How are we doing?
Explaining which one we need that we're looking for the sorceress name.
Stella Tenebra is her title.
Oh yeah.
And
Stella Tenebra.
Stella Tenebra.
That's good Latin.
Thank you.
That's
and
good. I like
then she'll have a name.
I find that one of the benefits of having taken Latin for 4 years, RPG names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I recommend it to anyone that wants to get into having a good time GMing, coming up with names for things. Just take Latin. It's the most useful language for that. Although Old English would have been really good too.
This is great. Just using that.
Who is that?
That is Irish Gaelic for Dark Star.
Nice.
Realta Dorcha.
Nice.
So we've got her name, Realta Dorcha. Her title is Stella Tenebra. And then we have the names of 3 knights.
Legend Emperor.
This is great.
Oh, that's so good.
Okay, cool. So I
like
can
that a
work with
bunch.
those things.
Bunch.
So let me real quick knock out some Grimlocks, or Grimloids.
Because these are just minions, right?
Yep. They are D...
Are they easy? Are they like D6s?
I could make them easy, but if I did, I'd want to give them an ability that made them annoying in packs or something. I should have tagged this. Oh well, I didn't. Minions, here we go. Oh, that's cool. All right. I mean, let's see. They're D8 minions that win at D4 can sacrifice themselves to attack all targets in scene, to attack all opponents and targets in scene. They can explode with dark cosmic energy. Great, all right. I've got everything I need there. Those I need there. That gives me about 45-ish minutes to write up all of my individual scenes, because I want those to be really specifically scripted, so that if they're like, play it again, I can play it again exactly the same way a second time. Normally, I don't like to script things out in advance. Normally, I prefer to keep things more improv in the moment. Like I tend to outline things out in advance, but not script out specific words for me to say. But in this case, I want the specific words. All right, so that is all done. That's for that. That is also done. That is for future Christopher. This is also for future Christopher.
We're having a fun discussion about languages in the chat. Well, I've got to go.
Yeah, we got to run.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
How we doing? Anything else?
I think we're good. Go get everything ready.
We will see you in about an hour and some change.
Yeah, hour 10 minutes, and we're going to try
minutes.
to fix all of the.
Yeah, Paul and Trevor are going to go work on the internet stuff. I'm going to go write up all this stuff, if you're watching this, if you can. Or if you're watching this later, now you know what we did back in the past. And we'll catch you next time.